Welcome to Living a Graceful Life. I'm your host, Denise Medved, and I'm also the creator and founder of the Ageless Grace Brain Health Program worldwide. I'm here to remind you that it's never too late to begin making choices to create the life that you want to live. I hope you listened to what I just said. Because very often we'll say, I'm stuck. This is going to be the way it is the rest of my life. Or, a lot of my life is miserable or unhappy or upsetting. And there's nothing I can do about it. That's just the way it is. Well, there are lots of things that we do not have any control over. There's long lists of them. But a few things that we do have control over is our choice of attitude, our choice of what we put in our body, how we treat our body, how we stimulate our brain, how we nourish our spirit, how we develop a spiritual support system, how we manage or recognize or acknowledge our emotions, or how we stuff them away. All of those things are things that we're in charge of. And it's easy to say, oh no, I can't do that because what? Because this person doesn't allow me to, or this situation won't let me do that. The reality is pretty much everything you see from here to here, and pretty much everything you don't see inside of me and inside of you, I'm in charge of. I'm not in charge of my DNA, but I am in charge of how I support my DNA to make it more healthy. So one of the things that we're talking about in this episode is how to nourish your unique spirit. And I'm spelling unique, Younie, unique, because the spirit is that animation of your body. It can't be seen, it's invisible, and yet it can be felt and understood, and it can touch other people by the way you behave, by the way you act, by the way you move through life, by the way you choose to have a graceful life and navigate through all of your days with grace. All of that has to do with your unique spirit. One definition of unique spirit or your spirit is animation filled with anima. Anima is life force, life energy. In other cultures, sometimes it's called chi, life force energy that is you. It is uniquely you. It doesn't belong to anyone else. I have heard it compared to a thumbprint. The thumbprint that is you is your spirit. You know that nobody's thumbprint is like yours. It belongs to you and no one else. And so when we talk about your spirit, that's the same thing too. It is your spirit. It's not a spirit you adopted from someone else. It's not a spirit you copied from someone else. It's not a spirit that someone assigned to you. It's just who you are. And it's vitally important to all the parts of you, your physical self, your mental self, your emotional self, and your spiritual self. So many of us know from reading or watching webinars or television shows that a positive attitude, enthusiasm for life, emotional vitality, a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging, social interaction, all of those things can make you more physically resilient. And what I mean by that is when you nourish your spirit, it's vital to your health and well-being. Literally, doing those things I just mentioned, doing those things that have to do with your attitude, your vitality, your purpose, your interaction with others, those things can make you well. They can make your immune system stronger. They can make you more active in life and give you a greater vitality. So, easy to say, right? But how do we do that? How do we nourish our spirits? Well, Dr. Mark Hyman, who knows a lot about the brain as well as the body, did a wonderful article about nourishing your spirit. And I just want to pick out a few little things from that article and share them with you. One of the first things he said, and I'm paraphrasing, is to check in with yourself. Now, what does that mean? Well, I kind of like to think of it as having a conversation with myself, but more importantly, having a truthful and honest conversation with myself. So I can say to myself, all right, how am I feeling this morning? Or how am I feeling today? And I can say, well, I'm going to choose a positive attitude because I know that's a good thing. I feel great. Well, am I being honest? I don't feel great. Maybe I need to take care of myself. Maybe I need to rest. Maybe I need to give myself some time before I jump into the world today. Or what if I say, how am I feeling about things in my life? And I kind of go through the checklist. How am I feeling about my job? Well, maybe my answer is, well, it doesn't matter because I can't change it. I have to have a job, and that's the one that I picked, and I want to stay until I retire, so I can't do anything about it. That's not true. There are so many ways you can change your attitude, your actual situation, your workplace physically, your possibly colleagues, or your interactions with your colleagues, or even the structure of your job. So there are always choices about everything. So when you're honest with yourself and you say, you know what, I hate being in that cubicle. It stresses me out. It's ugly. I hear everybody else around me. But I have no choice. I'm stuck in a cubicle. Is that true? Or could you possibly put a beautiful painting on the wall of your cubicle, or a calendar with pretty pictures, or could you put a little water fountain that trickles and tinkles, or a white noise machine on your desk? You see where I'm going. I don't have to come up with 1,000 remedies to imaginary situations, but there are always choices that you can make to improve something. And when you make even one little change in something that feels like it's dragging your spirit down, then it starts to lift your spirit up. So another thing you can do, besides checking in with yourself and being honest and giving yourself the truthful answers to your questions of yourself, is to journal. That's one way to ask questions of yourself, or maybe come up with things that you didn't even know were bothering you. Now, many people think journaling involves a lot of time and effort, and people say, oh, I can't write. Well, the point of a journal is not for someone else to read it. It's for you. So you don't have to worry about, is the grammar correct? Should I say this because it sounds good and someone might read it? It's kind of like a diary, lock and key. Nobody needs to read it but you. More importantly, you may not even read it. You just need to write it down. And as you're writing it down, you're listening, looking, and reading at what you're writing. So some people say, well, I don't know what to do in a journal. I don't know where to start or where to begin. How about if you just literally do something called stream of consciousness journaling, and you just write the first word down that comes to your mind? It means that your unconscious, your subconscious, has something in there that made you write that word down. So then just start writing about that word. You might be surprised where writing about that word, even though it may seem silly, it may be pancake or raisin. Notice I've got food on my mind apparently tonight. And then I start writing, and maybe a memory from my childhood comes up, or something I wish would happen. Like, I'd like my husband to take me for pancakes tomorrow morning and let us have some together time. You might be surprised what comes up when you start to write. How long does it need to be when you write in your journal? A sentence? A paragraph? 20 pages? It doesn't matter. Again, you're in charge of that. It's up to you how much you write in your journal. It can be a lined spiral ring notebook that you got from the dollar store. It does not have to be a beautiful journal by any means. So journaling is one way of Nourishing Your Spirit. And you might be surprised what you find out there. Another thing is, here's the big one, being willing to change gracefully. Change. That word scares us all, probably. But what I really mean is to change something small or change directions. And that has to do with the first two things we talked about. Checking in with yourself, giving yourself honest answers, journaling honestly, truthfully from your heart and soul and spirit. Meaning, if you see something, if you come upon something, if you discover something that is dragging you down, that is killing your spirit, that's hurting your spirit, can you change it? Even in a small way. Like I mentioned, decorating your cubicle. If that cubicle is dragging you down, then what can you do? One small thing, maybe one small thing this week, another small thing the next week. Making some changes and being willing to make changes. That might be an interesting question you're asking yourself. What changes am I willing to make to nourish my unique spirit? The next one is something that's near and dear to my heart. I've been studying feng shui most of my adult life. Feng shui, Fengshi. And it basically means wind and water. It's talking about the forces or the catalysts of change. And one of those things is clutter. Now, you may think that what's up in your attic or what's underneath your bed or what's over there in that closet behind that door doesn't really bother you because you don't look at them. You don't go upstairs. You don't go down the basement. You don't go out in the garage. You don't see those things that often. Except I'm here to tell you there have been so many studies done that tell you that when you have a mess somewhere, a pile of clutter, doors that stick, something that doesn't work, broken things around your house, that it's after there in your subconscious. You know it's there. You know that you mean to get around to it someday, right? So literally clearing clutter can nourish your spirit. I find that nothing feels better than to go to what I call my junk drawer, where everything goes when I don't know where to put it or I don't feel like I have time to put it where it belongs. And just open that junk drawer out, one drawer, I'm not talking about the whole house, and dump it in the floor or on the table or in a box and say, okay, this is going to go there, that's going to go here, that's going to go there. I feel so good about that drawer when it's finished. And that's how you go about feng shui. You don't have to paint your wall red. You don't have to hang wind chimes from your living room ceiling. All you have to do is start to create a little more grace in your life by taking one drawer, one shelf in your closet, one corner of your garage or your attic, and organizing that. And then there are several things to ask yourself when you do that. One is, do I really use this? Do I really need this? Do I want to give it away? Do I want to throw it away? Do I want to sell it? Pretty simple questions. And it will help you go right through that corner or shelf or drawer that you would like to declutter. Another thing that you can do that can nourish your spirit is meditate. That's another one, kind of like journaling. Everyone that doesn't meditate already thinks, oh, I can't sit still that long. Well, how long should meditation be? Perhaps it could be 5 minutes. Perhaps it could be 3 minutes. Perhaps you could do 3 minutes 3 times a day. Maybe it is 30 minutes. Maybe it is 20. It's totally up to you. Here's another thing. Do you have to sit still with your eyes closed to meditate? No. You could go on a walking meditation through nature. You could do a journaling meditation and just write what comes to your mind, to your heart, to your spirit. There are so many ways that you can meditate. And meditation can calm your spirit and just make you feel like, wow, I just made time for me. The thing about meditation is it works best most people, not everyone, when you actually set a time aside for it. So if you're thinking 10 minutes would be good for me, maybe even twice a day. Well, which 10 minutes? From 8 to 8:10 in the morning? From 5 to 5:10 in the afternoon? Put it on your calendar. Put it on your calendar. It's an important engagement, appointment, date with yourself. When someone calls then and says, oh, let's meet for drinks at 5, you'll say, well, I can't meet you at 5. I have something I'm doing then, but I could meet you at 5:30. Put yourself first. Make sure that you're right up there with all those other responsibilities and obligations and commitments that you have in your life. You can't be there for someone else, you've already heard this, unless you can be there for yourself first. If you don't nourish your spirit, you can deplete your spirit. You can lose connection with the things that you love. You can lose connection with the people that you love. So you must put yourself first. And everyone's heard this, but I'm going to repeat it because it's pretty darn good. Remember what the airline's attendants always say. In case of emergency, the oxygen mask will drop, and put your own mask on first and then assist your friends or children or family. Put your own oxygen mask on first by taking some time out for yourself. Well, those are some key points, but there's another cool website called Minimalism Made Easy, long name. But one of the things that they talk about is some of the things that you can do to, guess what? Nourish your spirit or nourish your soul. So what are some other things? Well, one of these I really especially love. It's called Choosing Kindness. I know many of you have heard of Random Acts of Kindness. It's a wonderful little book if you haven't read it before, and I believe there's a sequel called More Random Acts of Kindness. And it's literally when someone does something, usually for a complete stranger, that's just kind. A great example would be you're walking by a parking lot and you notice that this car has 1 minute left on their meter, and then they're going to get a ticket probably. And you reach in your pocket, pull out a quarter and put it in, and you go on your way. No one even knows that it was you. But guess what? That person might not even notice that their meter was about to expire, but they might get there and say, whew, I got here just in time before I was going to get a ticket. A random acts of kindness is some small, tiny thing. It could even be a smile at someone who looks really grumpy and irritable and crabby today. Or it could be, you tell me, what could it be? A little random act of kindness. So choosing those things are a wonderful way to lift your own spirit. The thing about being kind is that when you give kindness away, it always, 100% of the time, comes back to you in a sense of nourishing your own self. It feels good to be kind. And yes, it's a choice. There are days when I don't think about being kind at all. It becomes a habit. Is there something I can do today to be kind? What can I do today to be kind? If you say, well, I start off the morning like that, but I forget about it by the end of the day, well, put some sticky notes around. Put one on the dashboard of your car. What can I do today to be kind? Or kind act. Or put it on your notebook that you carry with you, or your laptop, or put it on your workspace wall, or put it on your child's lunch when they're going to school. Kind act. What a nice thing to pass on to your child, to do something kind for someone today, right? So that's one thing you can do to nourish your spirit. Another one is listening to relaxing music. Talk about giving time to yourself and nourishment. We all know that music is wonderful for the brain. It's wonderful for the emotions. It's actually wonderful for the body. And now you find out that it's wonderful for your spirit. Choose beautiful, relaxing music that feeds your soul, that lifts you up. And maybe I'm saying beautiful, relaxing music. Maybe what feeds your spirit is wild and crazy rock and roll and getting up and dancing in the living room. The average song is about 3.5 minutes long. So get up and dance for 3.5 minutes if that's what nourishes your spirit. Do music. Another one is caring for your body. A simple thing like putting a mask on your face once a week or once in a while, or maybe giving yourself some fun and time in the bathtub, relaxing in big bubbles, or maybe giving yourself a little nap for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes once in a while. Taking care of your body is taking care of yourself, and your spirit knows that. Wow, she took time out to care for her body. That's an important thing to do. Now, another way to care for your body is what you wear. I kind of did that tonight. Typically, I wear a solid color on my TV show because it's great for, I don't know, being seen and not distracting anyone. But today, on purpose, I reached for this because I'm a redhead, so I love autumn colors. And I said, you know what? This is what I want to wear on my show tonight. So I'm nourishing my spirit right now as we speak. Having a fire in the fireplace nourishes my spirit. I'm not sure why. I think it has something to do with childhood when my parents would put a fire on the fireplace, and it seemed like such a festive event to me. And of course, once in a while, my parents got out sticks and marshmallows, and we'd roast them over the fireplace, or we'd pop popcorn. So I have pleasant memories associated with the fire. So it doesn't have to be something complex for you to do to care for your spirit and your body. Connecting with nature is another thing that you can do. Take a walk in nature. Take your shoes off and walk in the grass. Take your cell phone out and take pictures of beautiful things that you see. Plant a bulb and watch what happens. Connect to nature. Listen to the birds singing in the morning. Here's another one that's not always easy to follow. Slow down. That's a hard one for me. I'm very animated. I'm full of life. I'm full of energy. But sometimes I literally just do that. I hear my words in my head say, slow down. And then I move in slow motion for just a few minutes, and it calms me. Another one is letting go of control. Oh, that's a hard one for most of us. But there are some things we just can't change. And so instead of noodling over them, worrying about them, thinking about them over and over and over again, maybe write on a piece of paper, maybe put on a sticky note. There's nothing I can do about that. I let it go. Let it go. Wonderful words. Let it go. Speaking of let it go, don't overthink things. If you catch your mind in a loop, then do some of these other things we talked about to get your mind out of that loop. How about practicing patience? Oh, that's a big one too. Practicing patience. This was a positive from a very horrible and negative situation. Many of you know that my mom had Alzheimer's for a decade. And when my mom started repeating things over and over and over and over again, I just wanted to scream. And one day I watched a little video on YouTube of a woman who said, you know, when my little 3-year-old grandson says to me, Nana, why is that? Nana, why is that? Well, Nana, why? Nana, why? I have all the patience in the world. But when my mom, who has Alzheimer's, repeats, I get irritated. That switched something in me and made me realize, oh yeah, I can learn patience. And guess what? Over that 10-year time period, I learned an incredible amount of patience. And that was one of the many gifts that my mother gave me in spite of her horrible disease or because of it. Another thing I want to remind you of is letting the past go. We can't change it, even if it happened 5 minutes ago. We might be able to apologize for it, or we might be able to shift it, but we can't change what happened. So let the past go. You certainly can't change anything that happened a few days ago or months or years ago. Another one is gradual is graceful. That should be the theme of this TV show. You don't have to do things all at once. You don't have to clean out your whole house and declutter. That's mind-boggling. But do one shelf. You don't have to leave your job. Maybe you just keep changing things about your job. You don't have to do anything all at once. Do it gradually, a little at a time. Embracing an exercise or movement program, can you do it 10 minutes 3 times a week? And then maybe the next week you can do it 10 minutes 4 times a week. And the next week, 10 minutes 5 times a week. There are so many ways to be graceful about gradually changing things. And then the last one's choosing happiness. It's a choice. It is a choice. In spite of grief, sorrow, anger, all the emotions you can still choose to be happy. Not as easy as it sounds. We'll talk more about that in other episodes. So I always like to give you a tool, an actual physical tool that you can do that can help you with what we've talked about today, which is nourishing your spirit. So I'm going to put on some music, and we're going to do one of the Ageless Grace tools called Dance Party. Because guess what that is about? It's about nourishing your spirit and expressing yourself. So no one can see you. I can't see you. So you dance your heart out. So here we go with a little bit of express yourself. So start with the feet. Just move them all around. Add in the forearms, just the forearms. And when we sit down instead of standing, it engages that brain because it's saying, how the heck do you dance sitting down? How about your shoulders? Oh, and keep the feet moving. How about the head movement? What if we extend our arms? Take up some space. How about a little facial expression? Now, one of my favorite body parts are the hips. So get your hips going. Get your tail feathers wiggling. And maybe your feet can still move. Hips, tail feathers. What if we lifted one foot off the floor at a time? What if we lifted 2 feet off the floor? You can do that sitting down. All right. So you for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, it doesn't matter how long you practice Dance Party, but it engages your brain, as I said, just because you're sitting down in a chair. Your brain is saying, well, what do I do with my feet if I'm in a chair? What do I do with my back? Can I really move my tail feathers in a chair? Yes, you can do all that and more, and it will activate those 5 primary functions of your brain when you do. So if you want to learn more about the tools of Ageless Grace Brain Health, you can go to our website, agelessgrace.com, AGELESSGRACE.com. There are all kinds of articles, blogs, video clips, a free class that you can sign up for and have downloaded and do it as much as you would like. But even doing 10 minutes a day is shown to help improve your brain health, which improves your overall body function, which nourishes your unique spirit. So I encourage you to do all the things that we talked about tonight, or one of them, and Nourish your unique spirit, that part of you that's like no one else's in the whole wide world. So you can also go and find our products, DVDs, books, those types of things on the winwinwomen.com store. WINWINWOMEN.com. So thank you for joining me on Living a Graceful Life. I hope you've had as much fun and enjoyment as I have. And I want to remind you one last time, it's never too late to begin making choices to create the life that you want to live. So I love to do a what if. What if everybody watching this nourished your spirit this week once, twice, 3 times? I think we could change the world. Thank you.